Hi, everyone. Welcome to our very first Lodgify workshop. We've done a bunch of webinars in the past, but this is kind of a new format. We're starting new today. So thanks a lot for joining. I'm Alvar, instructional designer here at Lodgify. And today we have three amazing guest speakers with us, three successful vacation rental owners, managers, and hosts to talk about how to get more direct bookings. So I'll let them introduce themselves in a minute. So but first of all, a couple of reminders. I'm going to share my screen. Go. Okay, so I guess that everyone can see the screen. I hope so. So yeah, as I said, let me go here. Just a few reminders. So for the audience, remember that we cannot see you or hear you. However, we really encourage you to ask any questions you may have related to the topic. If you have a look at the display on your screen, you can see that in the right side of the screen, there is a little lateral bar with some icons. So the first one is the chat. The second one is the Q&A section. So if you want to ask anything, just go there and ask us the question. We'll answer it during the Q&A session at the end of the workshop. You can also use the chat. I can see that you're already quite active. You've been quite active in the chat since we published the event. So thanks a lot. That's really amazing, guys. And we will, of course, record the whole thing so that if you cannot join for any reason, then we'll send the recording to you. And I just noticed that we do not have Katie's image here on the screen. I don't know if that's is it the same for you, Daniela, Kerri, and
my face seems to be up at the top for some reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, she appears on there is a top bar that
Here
says,
we go.
There she is.
I'm back.
We got you back. Okay, and so for those of you who might not be familiar with Lodgify, so we're all-in-one vacation rental software to empower owners and property managers to easily create your own bookable website to accept direct bookings, which is the topic of the day. So hosts and PMs can manage all the reservations and bookings from one central place and connect it to external channels like Airbnb, Vrbo, and Booking, which is not the topic of the day because we're going to focus directly on direct bookings. And our main features are the website builder, the channel manager, and the property management system, which is great if you want to coordinate tasks with your team or communicate with your guests and automated messages and so on. So now let's get into it. And you can see here the structure and the topics that we'll be talking about. So we'll introduce our guests in a second, I promise. We're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of being independent from OTAs. We'll talk about the first steps and what things you should start focusing on when you want to really, start getting more direct bookings. We'll do a little tour of our guests' websites and talk about must-have pages and features that you should have in your bookable website. We'll talk about marketing, branding, how you can balance OTAs with your direct bookings, operational day-to-day tasks, and we'll end with a nice Q&A. So without further ado, let's meet the stars of today, starting out with Daniela, sorry. So the floor is yours. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Daniela. Together with my partner Vincenzo, we run 90 units on Marbella beachfront. They're all in the same building, and we have small studio, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. We've been doing purely holiday rentals since 2010. And before we used to do real estate, and we had the small restaurant. So hospitality has been in our blood ever since we met together with our love of travel. So basically what we've done, we've turned our passion into a profitable business that we have built around our lifestyle, because being Italian, we're very familiar oriented. We had 2 small children. Now they're grown up, and we're trying to get them to work in the business as well. So the business has to fit our familiar lifestyle. Direct booking, we have about 90% direct booking. The rest, a bit of Airbnb and a bit of booking.com. And how do we do that? Well, through the amazing Lodgify website, and a lot of marketing and a lot of repeat guests. So that's me.
Great, thanks a lot, Daniela.
Big fan of direct booking movement.
And you just told us when we were backstage that you actually started when that was the only thing available. Just
exactly, yeah.
So that's right.
Holiday rentals and real estates have always been connected here in the south of Spain, and even in Italy, where we're originally from. Basically, in real estate, what you had available either in summer or at Easter, you would just rent it to tourists, because people would walk into the real estate offices and say, yes, we're here with our family, what do we have available? And they would come they would stay for a month or for 2 weeks. And Easter was the same. And then the crisis of 2008 hits, and everything we had on our portfolio, it just went for holiday rentals. And this is how we started purely in holiday rentals, with the first 15 units in this amazing beachfront building in Marbella that is called Skol Apartments Marbella, like our website.
Thanks a lot,
Daniela. You will see that later.
Exactly. Okay, so next we have Kerri here. So the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Kerri. I am located in Mont-Orford, Quebec, in the eastern townships of Quebec, which was this year named one of the top 52 destinations to visit in the world by the New York Times. So we are seeing a flood of interest in our region. I founded Chalets Hygge in 2017 with my partner, Philip. And over the past 6 years, we have built it into a recognizable short-term brand within Quebec, Canada. We ended up in the short-term rental business by accident. I think how many people do. When I left my corporate job and with a background in technology and finances, to just take a sabbatical, take a pivot in life, and bought a chalet to renovate with the intention of selling it. But we ended up doing short-term rental with it. Absolutely fell in love with short-term rental, and I never went back to a corporate job. So we are owner-operators of all of our own properties. And so our model is that we buy ski chalets that are in need of renovation, completely renovate them inside and out ourselves, using experts for need, electricians, plumbers, and turn them into short-term rentals that we then manage as well. And we have a small team that works for us to help manage them once they are actually on the market. And I knew as soon as I realized this was going to be a viable stream of revenue, that we book direct was super important to us. And I did my homework in 2017, early 2018, and discovered Lodgify, who checked a lot of our boxes. Went with them. Haven't regretted that decision at all. Lodgify is the hub of our business, and owes a lot of the success for our book direct rate, which is currently sitting at 70%.
Thanks a lot, Kerri. And last but not least, we have here Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie Bleifer Jones. My husband and I are the owner-operators of Villa Eros in Old Skol, Kefalonia. We sort of got into the rental market by accident because we built this property with the idea that the developer who built it for us was actually going to rent it for us. And after circumstances were such that it was quite clear that we needed to take it over ourselves, that was how it ended up landing in our lap. We've ended up over the course of the last 12 years renting Villa Eros exclusively on our own. With the help of Lodgify, we have been able to, I don't even know how it almost organically happened, but the fact is that we're now at 90% of our bookings being direct, with our only OTA being VRBO. And we do this by way of PR, marketing, and lots of social media push on a weekly basis. And it's just organically happened. So we're really thrilled with our one little beautiful one bedroom. It's a little bit different than you ladies who have got such a big business going on. We're the small fry in the room, but it just goes to show that anybody could do it. You could start small and keep on going.
I started with one too, Katie, so you never know.
I started with 15, so and you're in an amazing place, so you can easily grow.
Well, I think at this stage of our lives, my husband and I are not looking to grow the business. We're looking to make it something that somebody else might want to take over from us at some point in time. So that's our next stage of all of this. But in the meantime, it's a lot of fun to do the work, and the guests are fantastic, and it's an incredible experience.
Oh yeah, I still believe it's one of the best jobs in the world.
100%.
Great. This is great to hear, guys. So, okay. So now let's start talking right into the topic, advantages and disadvantages. So, of course, the advantages are obvious, right? Of getting direct bookings. So I guess we can maybe, state the obvious here, but who wants to start here talking about the main advantages that will, to motivate people start getting away from OTAs?
Well, I'm quite happy to start. I think becoming independent from OTAs, in my experience, it's an anathema that, in actual fact, that there are protections both for the renter and the owner of the property, with whatever agent it may be, whether it's Booking.com or Airbnb or VRBO. Guests seem to believe that if they go to a big corporate entity, that there's somewhat of a guarantee that they're going to get what it says on the tin when they look at the information that you've provided on their website. But you take, for example, with VRBO, the insurance policy that they offer for guests, if your property is not as it was advertised, that they'll find you somewhere else to stay. Well, in Kefalonia in August, you'll be sleeping in a cardboard box because there isn't anything. So, it becomes a situation where the guests actually are paying more money for something that they really, in most cases, 9 times out of 10 aren't going to get. And I haven't seen from the other side of it that it's actually provided me with any additional protections against guests. The vetting process, I've determined, is not that much more sufficient than what we as independents can do. So I think that in actual fact, even if you price yourself in such a way that your OTAs are actually providing you with the same level of revenue as it would be if getting the guest direct, in actual fact, I don't think that there's any advantage to the situation one way or the other. I think you really, the degree that you can to push towards it being independent from OTAs, I think is a fantastic way to go.
Nice. What about you, Kerri? Do you want to add something?
Completely agree with everything that Katie said. I would add to that just the process of owning your own customer and their entire journey from the time they discover you till the time they check out, you own that 100%, and there is no middleman. So if there's any problems, you deal with the guest directly, and you don't have to deal through Airbnb. Even if there's anything good or they want to communicate with you, the OTAs want you to do everything on their platform. So they really own the customer, and they own the customer experience, the online experience, which is just as important as once they're on the property, right? Because there's a lot of their expectation of how the vacation is going to go before they even set foot inside of your property. The other advantage to it is you're not forced to be reactionary to OTA strategy changes. Airbnb, VRBO, which are the ones we list on outside of direct, they decide what they're going to do that's for the benefit of their business, which may or may not be good for you and your listings or how they rank and show up. So you're constantly playing a game against competitors that you don't know about, and you don't know how they're making decisions on how you're going to rank, if you're going to be on page 1 or you're going to be on page 35. And that's the other thing. Once they're on your website, the only thing they're looking at is the properties that you have to offer. They're not looking at you besides hundreds or thousands of other potential, competitors or lodgings that they can pick from. So if you can create a good website experience that once they land there and they're like, oh, this is cool, then you don't even have to worry about them really going somewhere else or looking at other side by side, because they're in. They've realized, that this is going to be a good experience. You're providing exactly what they want. So yeah, I think those are the big high level advantages to having your own direct book site.
Before I ask Daniela, I see that Bontel is asking in the chat, what is an OTA? So that's an online travel agency. So think Airbnb, Booking.com, and so on. Daniela, what do you think?
Well, for me, the most important is to know who's coming to stay. As I said, we are in one big building with a pool and garden in between. So it's really is a community. We have a pool bar. We all know each other. We have like 60% repeat guests, plus the owners that always come to stay. And we also live there. So we really need to be careful who we host in our apartments. So the very most important thing for us is to know who's coming to stay. And when I have guests coming through our website, I always know who they are, especially if they ring or they send me a WhatsApp to book. When they come through an OTA, you never know. In fact, all the problem we have with guests is because the OTA, they do not display our properties properly. I mean, on booking.com, it looks like we are a 5-star resort like the Club Mediterranee. Then people arrive and they expect a butler at the door, everyday room service, and say, no, we're holiday apartments. We're not a 5-star hotel. So this is the kind of issues we have with OTA, and then people that come and they think it's like an Ibiza hotel for swingers. So yeah, that is our main issues, owning the guests and knowing exactly who's coming. And then, of course, the cancellation policy, because on your website, you play your own rules. And if people cancel 5 days before because they had a change of mind and they want to go to another location, well, you're entitled to keep the deposit. On Airbnb, sometimes they've canceled 5 days before and they come up with some stupid reason. It's like, oh, we had to refund the guests. And there you are 3 days before, 5 days before, with an empty apartment. That we fill it up because we're pretty good at that, but still it's annoying. It's annoying the way they treat us. So yes, these are my main reasons.
And what about disadvantages? I mean, there must be something, even maybe little things that, not a disadvantage, but something that people will need to consider before they jump in and start trying to go full direct bookings. Are there some things that hosts will need to consider and that they will maybe need to adapt to?
They will have to work really, really hard, because getting direct booking is updating the websites on a weekly basis, social media every day, various social media every day, and a very, very, very good strategy. That is a lot of work. Of course, it's easy. There are many people that sell this get rich on Airbnb business scheme. So it's easy. You put 50 apartments on Airbnb, or even if you start with 10, you will start to get bookings. Yes, of course, you will start to get bookings and make money. But how long is that? How long will that last? How sustainable is that? The algorithm changes, and as Kerri said, your apartments end up on page 35, and we all know that the best way to hide a dead body is on page 2 of Google or on Airbnb. So nobody ever goes to page 2 of anything.
What about you, Kerri? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll second what Daniela said, and that having a book direct strategy, it is a lot of work. Even if you think about it, the OTAs, everyone else, they're constantly updating their website. We have to be the same. So it's up to now it becomes up to you to build the marketing, to build the online website and constantly keep it updated and fresh, and that you have credibility in it. So that you have to work towards getting your reviews both on the website and on Google. You have to make sure that your website is talking about the upcoming summer season and not last year's ski season, or it's got old COVID policies on it that no longer affect. And also you're creating new content for SEO maximization. So it's not a set it and forget it. But it is something that you do need to have a whole entire strategy around it, exactly what Daniela said, where you've got the social that feeds into it, and you've got your Google profile that's up to date and that feeds into it. So all these different things that you have to do. But the end result is that you own your business, and any business takes work. So when you're in your short-term rental, if you want to own your business, you have to have a direct book website and the work that comes with it. It's so rewarding. I found so many things I enjoy doing that I never knew I enjoyed before, such as social and, content creation. But yeah, I think if people think they're going to set up a one-time site and then walk away, they're not going to be successful in direct books. Certainly you can do that, but keeping it up to date and fresh, and keeping all of the channels that feed into it updated and that you're engaging there is very time consuming.
What about you, Katie? What do you want to add?
Well, our strategy is a little and often when it comes to social media. I make sure that we are booking posts at the same time every week, so that our followers, that we've got quite a following on Facebook and Instagram at this point, that people rely on the fact that once a week they're going to get another photograph, or they're going to get an interesting article on Facebook about what's going on in Kefalonia, and trying to develop sort of a more integrated approach in relationship to getting people interested in the island, as well as Villa Eros, because in fact we only have a 30-week season, and with a 1-bedroom rental, that means that we fill up quite quickly. But you want to keep the desire and the interest in following on, because if we bring people to Kefalonia, even if they don't come to stay at Villa Eros, it's an advantage to the entire community. So I look upon it on two levels, that we're not only looking to try to drive business for Villa Eros, but that aspirationally, we're also trying to drive business to the island as well.
Great. Okay, so let's get into our next topic here. And so the first steps, who wants to start talking about this? When do you think, let's say that someone, maybe not starting out, or maybe it's something that you should consider right from the beginning, to focus only on direct bookings, or most of it in direct bookings, but when would it be a good start for someone to start developing their direct booking strategy? Would it be, as I said, right after you acquire your property and start renting out, or maybe you want to wait, start be a bit more established using, platforms like Airbnb, or what do you think? Who wants to start talking about this?
Well, I would say right away, when they start onboarding a new property, if they, I assume that everybody that is listening, or either direct or on recording, they either have one property or various properties, or are thinking about starting in this business. So how many you list, it depends, up to the business, but start out straight away with a website, because you will have to start with the PMS channel manager. So as you are at it, just get only one, like Lodgify has, PMS channel manager and website, and put the properties on your website and on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, TripAdvisor. It depends really what sort of property they are, because some work better on one channel and some or other, but straight away direct booking and marketing. And let's say you have an Airbnb business and you just want to start now, well, open up a website and start now. If you are in a place where people repeat, like a repeat destination, reach out to your past guests and tell them that they can book directly with you. They know you exist, so there is this element of trust, and you start building your direct bookings.
What about you, Kerri? What do you think?
I would second what Daniela says. The minute you realize this is going to be a stream of revenue that you want to control, which for many people is right away, I would say, start building that presence. There's no, you can't start too early. Like, just having something there, even if you're directing your return guests or their referrals to that website, you can't start too early. So I 100% agree with that. And your return guests and their referrals are your lowest hanging fruit, right? So just make sure they know when they're staying with you, how they can come back and stay with you, often for a cheaper price. They're not paying platform fees and all of those, add-on costs, everything that goes with it when they do a direct book.
Oh, I guess that you agree, right, Katie?
Well, I would 100% agree, and I think you've got to stick your stall out straight away, because if you don't, then you don't have anywhere to connect in terms of any of your social media enterprises that you're doing. If you're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you want to be able to have that link to a URL. And I think that the idea that people believe that it's going to be really hard to set up a website, that's where Lodgify really comes into their own, because you not only have the ability to build a website, but it's the integrated backend that makes such a big difference because of all of the additional tools that are available. You don't have to be some IT consultant to be able to manage it all and to make it look like you actually are properly running a business, that you're not just sort of renting something out on a whim. You look professional, and I think that the website 100% is got to be your first port of call, even before you start going to the OTAs.
Interesting. That's great. As the second point here is where to start. So, of course, having your own website, your own bookable website, is the obvious first step if you want to get direct bookings. I mean, it's a necessity, of course, to get those direct bookings. So let's say once you've got that bookable website, then what will be the next steps to start getting those direct bookings?
Well, social media. Sorry.
Go ahead, Daniela.
Social media marketing is the quickest and most efficient way to reach out to people, because with 2-3 weeks of daily social media posts and stories, you can reach out to people. You can build a decent following and get people to click on your website. That will help the SEO. Then, I mean, if you have past guests, email marketing, WhatsApp marketing. Some people even pick up the phone and say, hello, you stayed with us last year. Do you want to book direct? So people do different kind of things, but the quickest and most efficient, in my opinion, is social media. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Cool.
And Google My Business. Kerri, I think you mentioned Google My Business is very, very important to have it always updated and keep adding pictures on a weekly basis. That will help the Google algorithm as well.
Yes, I have a calendar activity set for update Google update Google profile. Like, keeping that fresh and relevant tells Google that you're serious about it, and it will help you in your rankings and the confirming that your website is a real website and not
Totally. And then another thing of a proof of trust, I've seen some people asking about how to get the reviews onto the website, and Lodgify is integrated with reviews, which is the only review aggregator of the holiday rentals. And Christoph, the owner, is a great guy, and it's very, very good. It displays all the reviews on your website, and you can see it's a real website, real reviews, and it's an amazing element of trust.
Great. Thanks a lot for the kind words. Katie, what do you think? So social media, Google My Business, what other things can we add here to getting started?
Well, I think Google My Business is a big part of it, because if you think of it from a standpoint of when you're looking to book a holiday rental or you're looking to book a hotel, when you go onto Google, if you see something that pops up on the side with all of the information, you actually feel that they are a bona fide enterprise. And that is really the starting point. I also think that Google Analytics is so important, from even for us as a little guy. The idea that we know what keywords are driving guests to or prospective guests to our website, so that we can tweak the meta tags so that we're actually positioning ourselves much higher up on Google without having to pay for any advertising. It's a fantastic tool. But also, I think that Instagram and Facebook, with their algorithms, the way they manage to push you in front of people who are interested in going on holiday to where it is that you have a property, these are things that, without spending a penny, you can, with your own effort and a bit of clever engineering, manage to get yourself put in front of people in a much more sophisticated way without much effort.
We talk a bit more about social media in a minute, and strategies that we can adapt to get those direct bookings. But okay, so you got your website, you are on Google My Business, you post on social media, but how can you go from the traffic that you get, the exposure that you get on social media or through your website, to the conversions to get the actual bookings? Do you guys have any tips or like some actions that we can take so that the traffic ends up in bookings?
Well, on social media, you have to be social, because this is how it's meant to be. So you cannot just go on social and put picture of your property and say, book, book, book. No, you have to put a picture of your property saying book. Then you have to say why you should come to this destination. So maybe you can highlight what you have in your destination. In our case is 300 sunny day a year, great gastronomy, great experiences, ideal for families. And then you talk about your neighbor, you talk about good restaurants you like to go to. And basically you have to engage with people on social media, follow them, comment, and create a relationship. I see social media, I see most of my guests and I see them in person, and I talk to them around the pool, the garden, in reception. And I just see social media as exactly the same kind of conversation, but with the screen in between. And this is what really helps us keeping in touch with our guests when they're not on holiday, when they're not here in Marbella. So yes, basically, social media, but with a relationship in mind, not just selling.
I think you wanted to say something before.
I was just going to say almost essentially the same thing that Daniela said, that it's also not only about putting pictures of your property on, but it's trying to tell more about where it is that your property is located. We did a whole series that we called Put More Wow in Your Vows, because a lot of people come to Kefalonia looking to get married there. So it was all the information about all of the party planners and all of the wedding coordinators all around the island, with photographs of where people have gotten married and the venues and all of those kinds of things. Then we featured a whole slew of restaurants. We did a whole bit about all of the restaurants in Kefalonia. And then we did one that was all about all of the beautiful beaches of Kefalonia. And we also make an effort to try to communicate with whenever somebody puts a question or a comment on one of our posts, we always engage with them. And if they want more information, we always direct them to the website, so that if they want to book, then we've already driven them already to the website.
I think everything that both Katie and Daniela are saying just relates back to trust. You have to build trust with them right away, whether that's through social, or as soon as they hit your website, they need to know it's a business they can trust. And you do that by having good, up-to-date, engaging, and beautiful content. I mean, pictures are so, so, so important, and so you're building trust. You have what, like 5 seconds or less, 2-3 seconds now to capture someone's attention. So your website better hit that trust and wow factor all at once. But even if it's wow, trust. Exactly what Katie said earlier. The first thing you do is you look at reviews. You want to know that you're paying for something legitimate and that it is as positioned. So I think that is the most important thing that you can do is instill trust in your website. And that includes how you gauge starting at social from the time they hit. So they look at it and they say, oh, yes, this is legitimate. It's, a crappy website when you hit a crappy website. And that just right away makes them say, what's my experience really going to be like?
Amazing. Okay, so now talking about websites, let's go through your websites here and talk about, what you consider to be the must-have pages or features that a bookable website should have. So here I see the first one that I put was Kerri's. So if you want maybe to walk us through or maybe talk a little bit more just about what are the features that you're the most proud of or that you think are the most useful to drive here the direct bookings. So
so you're looking at my website that I've spent 5 years building out. And so it might seem overwhelming for people who are just starting to look to get into a direct book strategy. I'm still adding pages and content every day. So I think to have a good direct website right out of the gate, the things that you need to focus on are the homepage that pulls them in immediately, the beautiful pictures, the reviews, the welcoming text and content that makes them feel like, oh, that's somewhere that I want to be. I think the second most important thing that you have to have that I focused on getting right is your property listings. And you don't ever want to have your property listings send them back to an OTA. Why build a direct book website to send them to your Airbnb link? Every time I see that, you're building up more credibility of the search engine for Airbnb and not your own website. So don't ever link back to an OTA. Make sure your listings are on your own website and you're able to book through there. The third thing I think is the most important to focus on for launching is your about page. I am continually shocked, and our about page actually needs to be updated, but how high in the Google Analytics ranking are our about pages? People want to know who they're staying with when it comes to a small business, and they want to feel connected to you. So I was just shocked. I heard that on all the podcasts and everything, but it's really, really true. So for me, those are the top 3 things when you're first looking to launch a website that I would focus on. After that comes the additional content that we've been talking about. We do the same thing, talking about the must-dos, the businesses to visit, business partners, all of those types of things. But those can come later. You don't need that to launch. There's no such thing as a perfect website. Just having the basic structure and getting out with something is what's the most important.
Amazing. By the way, just to do a little plug here, all these websites are made with Lodgify.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so
It looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
It makes me want to visit Quebec.
Yeah, exactly.
Please come visit. Like I said, top 52 place in the world for New York Times.
so next,
It looks amazing, and I love the idea that you and your husband are there displayed on the front page, like come and stay with us.
Yeah, no, our story resonates with people, and we put that up there in front. So
Yeah.
we want them to know who
that's
we
very
are.
important. Talk about you, who you are, why you make a difference, why you're better than the property next door.
I saw you had a video on the homepage. Did you do the video? I mean, or did you hire something, or is it like?
I hired, so that's a professionally done video. Again, not something you have to launch. It's been 2 years in the making now that we work with a professional content creator, and they filmed one for all seasons, and then we have all the because we're a 4-season destination. it's being combined into one overall. Come visit the Eastern Townships. So the tagline of the campaign is discover the Eastern Townships from Chalet Hygge. So come see everything you can do from the home base of here. So yeah, no, it's definitely, that was a huge investment. Just to give an idea, I think we have about $10,000 invested in that video series. But it's a huge driver for us because it gets picked up by local media. It gets picked up by the local tourism boards. And the businesses that we have featured in it, they pick it up and push it out. So while it's a large dollar investment, I can say it's a very, very good long-term investment because of all the pushes out it gets, it drives traffic to us.
Amazing. If I remember correctly, I can check again, but I think it was on Vimeo. Do you also have it on YouTube? Or do you have
we have it on YouTube as well. So we have a YouTube channel. But here is Vimeo, and I use Vimeo because it just looks more professional on the website. You don't have the advertising and stuff that comes after and whatnot, and the bad display right after. So yeah, we do use Vimeo for our video.
Amazing. Okay, so next we have Daniela with Skol Apartments, Marbella here.
So here we are. These are the views you're going to get from our beautiful balconies. And catchy phrase written by my good friend Louise, copywriter, Rental Tonic, because 50% of our guests are families and another 50% are digital nomads and remote workers. During the pandemic and the lockdowns, we had to switch from pure leisure to 50-50. So this is why we split it there. Then next is us, who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do, and how we understand the importance of a holiday that goes right, and they know we're there if they need anything. What we offer, our beautiful surroundings, and here's something I'm extremely proud of: the Shorties Award we've won for Best Holiday Site Operator, and we got shortlisted for social media. So that was a great achievement this year. Very, very proud. And then underneath there, you have some videos. I love videos. Those are my children when they were young. And this is the review aggregator I mentioned before.
It's and you have the little widget here as well with the.
Yes, you have the widget, and then you can see the actual reviews being pulled in from Airbnb, Booking, and Google, I believe. And what else do we have there? The WhatsApp button, very, very, very important. As people are scrolling through, if they have a question, they click on WhatsApp and they ask you that question. That converts a hell of a lot of lookers. What else? Here I separate, because we have many units, I separate by 1 bedroom, studios, so people can go and look exactly what they want. Then we have a Book Direct. If you click on that page, on the Book Direct page, that will give you all the reason why you should book direct.
Love that.
That gets a lot of traffic. So everybody that had question before, why should I book direct? Why should I just not stay on the OTAs? There you have all the reasons. And then what else we have? We have activities. We have Marbella food tours, also with my friend and neighbor Louise. We go out and eat and drink in local bars and restaurants, so that our guests get a better experience. They get really to have the authentic Mediterranean meal, and we help small local bar and restaurants of the tourists rather to get more business, and we have fun. So that's a triple win. And that's, I mean, we have many more things. We've been building this page for the last probably 4 or 5 years. So it's constantly in the making, and the more landing pages you build, the more traffic you will get. But to begin with, your listing, who you are, why you do what you do, and why people should come to you. I mean, what's there to do? Hiking, swimming, or if you're in a city, even if you're in central London and everybody knows what's to see in London, just tell them something different. Tell them your way of seeing your destination.
And that's a great about sharing your and having that YouTube channel where you share like the food tours, because that's I guess we could consider it branded content example, right? Because you're creating this content, and I bet, as you just said, that you have a lot of fun doing it as well.
Yeah.
And it's engaging. People can relate to that rather than just stating what the local guides may also say. Here we get to the real people experiencing the town.
Totally. And many of our colleagues from the holiday rental world, they always say, we want to come. In fact, we've hosted a couple of dinners. One in occasion, I don't know what happened in Malaga last year. We did a dinner there. And then Damien Sheridan from Book Direct show also came to visit us. And tomorrow we're hosting a dinner with some locals operator and somebody that come all the way from Australia to eat with us. So you will see the video next week.
Amazing. Okay, and so now let's have a look at Katie's website. I see you also have the little ratings widget here.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched your webinar on reviews and immediately signed up for it, because the idea that from the very get-go that somebody coming to your website can see what it is that previous guests have thought of their experience staying at your property, I think it's incredibly valuable. And our front page, because one of the things that we were having a problem with initially was that our photographs were so heavily laden that it was slowing down the process of loading. So I switched our profile to one that was a bit speedier to load, because I wanted to make sure that from the analytical side with Google that we weren't sort of holding ourselves back on the basis of the fact that we had chosen one that had too many photos in it. But this picture just says it all. You are, on your own, up on a hillside with your own swimming pool. And as you look at the photo gallery, you then see you have a 180-degree panoramic view, and all of the details down below tell you everything that's available with the property, all of the luxury amenities that we provide, and the services, et cetera. And then when you get to the photos page, it just, that says everything. I mean, that in and of itself, we've had
the panoramic view.
There's the, I don't have my glasses on. There's the video.
Where should I go?
It's Villa Eros in video. If you go to there, there's the YouTube video. If you click on that, it actually gives you the full 180-degree view of where it is that the house is, and how you are. We get a lot of honeymooners and people who are on their an anniversary holiday or a special private trip, and this just shows them that they are in their own private space. And there's no better way to communicate this than through the pictures and the video that it's, I think what you can see with Christy and with Daniela is that they've done exactly the same thing. They have utilized their best resource, which is their properties and the environment that they're in, to try to drive traffic to their, not only to their property, but to gain further interest. I also think one of the other things that's really key, and Kerri touched on this, is the idea that book now. You click on it, you can find the availability calendar, and you're not sending anyone anywhere else but directly to your website. And we also have a tab with all of the reviews and articles where Villa Eros has been featured, and it's our site is smaller because we're just one. But the fact is that even with one property, you can share everything that somebody's going to need to know and want to know before they book. And
We
right
also
now,
have I'm sorry, sir.
I was just going to say we always communicate with everyone through this bit about now offering flexible check-in days. They've changed the flight situation going into Kefalonia, and there are certain days of the week where the flights are incredibly expensive or there aren't any flights. And most of our guests do come from UK. So this means that they go, oh, okay, well, she's not just booking on a Saturday anymore. And particularly at the beginning and the end of the season, we've been able to fill it up much better that way just by telling people that that's what we're doing.
Amazing. I see you also have a widget here for communicating for sales.
That's with
yeah, she sent you an email, right?
I do think that I'm going to change it with what Daniela has shown, because I think I'm going to put the WhatsApp widget in instead.
Yeah, definitely.
Use
the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is, some people had Facebook Messenger, but I've seen less and less of them. WhatsApp is just the way to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to add that.
You can build a great WhatsApp business profile with a catalog in there. So that's a whole nother story. This is what my presentation at Book Direct show was about.
That's
how to convert with WhatsApp business.
Okay, amazing.
Amazing.
I think I'll do the same too. I have the same widget that Katie does, and
I'll show you later.
I already made my note. From you, both of you ladies.
Yeah, it's good to learn something ourselves today.
Amazing. Okay, so let's move on to marketing and branding. I guess we already touched a little bit on that already, but we've talked a lot about social media. But what tips, like besides being engaging and commenting, are there some more specific things, some actions that you've taken that showed great results, either be it on social media or other branding strategies?
When I moved over to
okay, go on, Kerri. Okay.
I have a few. The number one thing I think you can do in addition to social, because I 100% support everything that's been said on social, is building your own email list. That is the only thing that you own completely. Even your social is owned by Meta or owned by YouTube or Google or whoever. They can even shut down your profile. I mean, I have a friend, 10,000 followers, lost them all overnight for something she still has no idea what. But the only thing you own is your email list. So start collecting emails as soon as you can. You can do that through, things like Stayfi and Enzo, which we just bought because of a Lodgify connection with that we found. And so we're completely excited about that. But collect those emails. We also leave behind a card, a physical sign-up card in there, telling them why to direct book and giving them 10% off their next stay. But collect emails and then engage through that list. That's one thing that we want to do better this year. They get a monthly email, in which we talk about the chalets, a local business spotlight, and activity of the month. And then, a few more throughout the month if we're running a promo or have a big announcement or something. But I would recommend even every 2 weeks. We need to get more into the flow of doing that. But build that email list. I cannot say that enough. The other thing that we have found to be hugely successful for us in getting engagement on social and that transforms into bookings is partner marketing. So as you build and you start to work with the other local small businesses, you promote them, they promote you, so now you're reaching their list as well. And then they start to follow you, they start to engage. That has been really, really huge for us, especially some of the local larger businesses. We're partnered with one that has over 200,000 followers and they promote us once a quarter. That's always big for us. And micro influencer marketing. I know people are, some people just hate the idea of influencer marketing. And for us, I say micro, and I mean like 20,000 or less, has been huge for us. And that's finding people within your influencers within your avatar that look like your customers and piggybacking off of their list as well. And that's where we find a huge amount of people that convert to bookings, is because they're following people who we've engaged, and they come and they stay for a weekend and tell a whole story. And then that converts into bookings. Big influencers don't work because they're just flying by, like they're promoting, 10 products a week, right? So you're just another in the flyby. But if you find a small one that's more intent on the quality of the content they're building and not just getting, partnerships, that has been absolutely huge for us. So those are ones that I would, and we do paid Google and paid Meta ads, which does work for us. I know there's a lot of controversy about that too, but I've got the data that shows that for us it works. I've worked very hard over the past couple of years to understand these platforms and tweak my advertising for them, but they 100% work if you understand it and you do it the right way. And then getting involved with local tourism boards, I can't say enough about that. We're recognized by Quebec, by our region, and even by our little town, and they promote us all the time. And when they have opportunities come in, like media that comes in and stays, we're at top of the list for them to have these people stay with. So I can't tell you the number of magazines and TV stations we've been on from our local tourism boards. And then that just gets out there. But I could go on and on about this forever, but I'll give Daniela a chance as well.
Amazing. Okay, Daniela, sorry, I'm struggling with your name today. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
It's pretty easy, yeah.
It is easy. I'm Spanish, and it's a name that exists in Spanish, so I have no excuse whatsoever. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, I was going to say something else, but I'm going to follow up on the tourist board and idea. You have to get on the tourist board right away. They promote a lot because a lot of people still walk in the tourist board and ask, where do I go? What do I do? So yeah, they do promote a lot, and their websites have a lot of traffic. When I moved over to Lodgify, I was very scared of losing the ranking of my website. So I sent it out to all my real friends and friends on Facebook, like, check out my new website. And even if only 100 or 200 people click and stay on the website for 3 to 5 minutes just to browse through, that will give you the initial push. Google will need to understand that your website is alive and it's real. I've never worked with micro influencer, never really crossed my mind, but it's something that eventually I assume people can try, especially if they're starting out. And yes, we do mainly organic, but we do pay Google Ads, long tail keyword. Just the other day in the SEO workshop, somebody said to go on ChatGPT and find out exactly the 20 long tail keywords that would apply to your business or to your holiday rentals, and then create content around that. This is why we have all that many landing pages, because people arrive to our website even looking for properties to buy in Marbella. Let's say they come on an inspection visit and they want to know where to stay, and they find us. And also very important is to be in a good relationship with the local real estate agents. Here in Marbella, well, in Spain in general and in Italy, we're very, very, very connected. Real estate can do holiday rentals, and holiday rentals do real estate. In fact, we're also real estate brokers. But we also have very good relationship with the local real estate agents, because sometimes I bring the buyer, they bring the seller, and then we carry on renting that apartment. So it's important to establish relationship with real estate agents, or get the license yourself.
Amazing. What about you, Katie?
Well, being the tiny one in the room, I really focus on our mailing list from the very beginning, when we were even just getting a greater percentage of our bookings through VRBO. Once somebody's booked with you, you are entitled to communicate directly with them after they've had a booking with you. So that email address now is yours. and the number of people who have never gone back to VRBO after they've gotten an email from us to say, we're now booking for the next season or whatever it is. And I do it on a quarterly basis with our mailing list, because I find that because we are a seasonal property, the fact is that a lot of times you will find that you will have attrition on your email list if you actually over email. But the fact is that is an essential tool in the kit. We've also are a member of our Greek Tourist Board, but we've also just signed the UNESCO Environmental Protection Pledge, which is a big thing, because we're now promoting the fact that we're going as green as we can. And as part of our marketing strategy, we've now just started our own line of locally sourced organic toiletries that are housed in sugarcane containers. So we're going as plastic free as we possibly can. And we encourage recycling. And all of these things we tell in an email and also on social media, what it is that we're doing to try to be a better place for people to stay. The other thing that we've done is that I've done some targeted ads on Meta and found, as Kerri did, that they really do work. I've set a budget of probably about 10 to 15 pounds during the course of a week. And every time I placed a Meta ad, we've had at least one, if not two bookings. And for us with the 30-week season, it doesn't take very long for me to get filled up, but it actually is a very useful tool.
Amazing. Okay, let's move on.
And I add another thing, because I forgot.
Of course.
We use WhatsApp broadcast message as well as the email marketing. We repurpose our best reel of the week, and on Friday or Saturday afternoon, whenever we have time, we send it to our list of repeat guests, really people that are really like friend of the house, as we like to call them, and they come a lot. So they get the weekly reel that it's not meant for selling, it's meant for keeping us front of their mind. And it has been proven that WhatsApp messages have a 90% opening rate versus 40, 50, 60 of a good email marketing strategy. So basically combining everything.
Amazing. Okay, do you any of you want to add something more about marketing or branding?
No, I would just say, based off of everything that people have heard, like, there's no silver bullet that's going to be your magic marketing tool. It's like the one thing that's going to bring in all the bookings. It's a combination of all of these things put together that's going to drive your direct booking. So saying you're just going to do social, or you're just going to do email, or, it takes a lot of work to find out what that combination is, depending on your area, but it does require a weaving of multiple different avenues to bring together a strong direct booking marketing campaign.
Amazing. So now we can talk a little bit about how you can balance OTAs and direct bookings. I think one of you mentioned that at the very beginning, that direct booking is not like excluding having an OTA strategy as well. But what would be the best practices if you want to combine those two worlds? How can you get the best of the two? Is there a way, or?
I can go. Okay, go, Katie. I said it last time.
This time I stayed silent.
I was just going to say that the fact that you can do the integration with Lodgify, so that your presence on these OTAs, you actually are controlling what it is that your name is on the property marker on the OTAs, so that in actual fact, if somebody gets driven into VRBO, say, and they're looking for properties and they find you, then if they're a sus consumer, they might actually just use that to bounce off and go to Google and check you out some other way, because consumers are more savvy these days. They know that they're paying more, and they may very well know that they're paying more for not getting anything. And that if they go through the channel, that they're actually going to be in a situation where they're, they could have gotten it somewhere else for less. And so the way we've managed it is that we've gone for the integration, and I've gotten rid of our premier. We were a premier partner with VRBO for a number of years, and now I'm not even bothered if we end up on page 72, because in actual fact, they're finding us anyway somehow or another. But the fact is that the one or the two bookings that we get from VRBO, in essence, they've actually said after the fact that they made a mistake, that they had Googled us and they thought that they would go with the VRBO because it was in essence a better way to go. But I think that if you sort of add them in together in a way where you do have your very strong own website presence, as time goes on, organically, you will come to find that more and more people are booking with you directly through the repeat booking process, and also because they're just looking more. I mean, you two ladies have probably got a different situation because you've got more properties, but that's how it's worked for us.
No, 100% agree that people are getting more savvy. So leaving breadcrumbs in your OTA listings, like, I think we start out saying, welcome to Chalet Denmark, a Chalet Hygge property, so, and like our profile picture is our logo. So they know it's like a professionally run. I still talk about us and still have our picture in the about, but you can leave breadcrumbs all throughout the OTAs to let them know, and giving them a way to easily search and find you. I think when we first started out, I know when we first started out, because I was doing it, Airbnb was the main source of our bookings, and I couldn't neglect that, right? Because while I was building that direct booking strategy out. So my focus continued to be on maximizing. For me, it was Airbnb that was the most important, making sure we stayed good in the rankings and up high and on page 1 and not on page 35 while I was building up our direct booking. But as soon as we flipped to 50%, I flipped my mindset. It was a complete mindset shift where I started managing everything inside of Lodgify. Before I managed in Airbnb because I could not lose my rankings there. That was my bread and butter. But the minute I flipped, I started, I did everything in Lodgify. Now I rarely to never go into the OTAs because honestly, I want to drive the direct booking. And so I need to have everything set there. And I've done several different things inside to try to maximize our direct bookings and conversion to the OTAs. The booking window, I only take 3 months out on the OTAs, but my booking calendar is open much longer on our direct book site. So giving us as much chance as possible to fill up with direct bookings. Our nightly rate is cheaper on our websites. I add, and Lodgify allows us to do this. I add a 5% nightly surcharge onto Airbnb and VRBO so that when the prices are fed into them from Lodgify, there's that automatic price increase. And then we have promos that are only available on our site. So I really do strategies to focus on driving the direct book. I'm okay with Airbnb and VRBO filling up my last minute holes because that's kind of where people go to look for last minute. But for the serious vacation planners, I try to do everything I can to. And also people that are booking direct, I find tend to are booking longer stays. So I'd rather have a 7-day stay than a 2-day stay, for many obvious reasons. But yeah, that's how I balance the two now. And I did, had to wait to get to that 50-50 before I could stop not caring. I care, but like put on the back burner my Airbnb and VRBO rankings.
We use the OTA to fill in the silly gaps. Like, for example, we have some 3-day gaps, 2-day gaps, or even 5-day gaps in between booking and last minute, because as you said, Kerri, if people wants to book a longer stay, and especially quite in advance, they will try and find direct. And even if their first research is on OTA, if you leave the breadcrumbs, not only in the listing, but also in the profile description, for example, we are Daniela and Vincenzo Skol Apartments Marbella. all over, Booking, Airbnb, social media. So a lot of people that see our faces and our name on OTA, they will say, okay, let's go and see these people. And this is how they find us direct on the website. So it's extremely important to have that always optimized as well. So yes, 70-30 they say is the sweet spot. I think I've added on that that comment on the slides. So yeah, that should be your goal. That should be your ultimate goal, 70-30. And then if you get up to 80 or 90, then that's more to it. But that let's say if your listings gets wiped out completely, that happened. Like people got wiped out of Instagram and Facebook. They got wiped out of Airbnb overnight. So you would only lose out 30% of your business. Whilst if it is the other way around and you run an Airbnb business and you are 70-80% Airbnb reliant, then they cancel your accounts and you are in troubles.
Amazing. Okay, so this is the last slide before the Q&A. So now we're going to talk about like really specific actions that you have to take, that you have taken maybe or not. For example, if you switch to a full direct booking strategy, does that gonna end up on changes on your property, be it amenities, services that you offer? Does that gonna impact the property, the rental itself?
Not really, because that is the guest experience, and even if we prefer direct booking, we treat them all equally.
Same here, because we want
your Airbnb out.
We want those Airbnb guests to convert into return guests of direct books. And for us, the way we're situated, we're a drive-to destination for Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, New York, Boston, so some really big metropolitan areas. So we have 40% return guests. So yes, getting them in, like we just treat the OTAs as a lead channel. And then our goal is to get them in, and nothing changes. Everybody gets the best service we have to offer.
Great. What about insurance? Because one of the things that OTAs offer is their insurance policies. We talked about this at the beginning, but maybe we can expand a little bit more on this.
I think it's an anathema. I mean, if you look as a renter on the VRBO website, it says that we will intercede on your behalf in the event that a rental owner takes a security deposit unnecessarily. When you look on the VRBO owner website, it says that we offer you £1 million of insurance in the event that your customers do damage and cause you problems and all of these things. And in my experience on both sides of this, it actually has not come to fruition that that they have actually had our back when we did have a problem. And we did have a series of guests, one couple that did damage the property, and we were not supported by the OTA. So I would say that you need to have your own independent insurance, because that is essential. If you're a property owner, you need to have renter and rental insurance yourself, and recognize that unless you are moved to a pay by booking model, if you're paying the fees that these companies are charging just to be gaining exposure on their websites, you're actually giving away money for nothing, because you are not going to get protection in the end. At least that's my experience.
That's everybody's experience, because up to these days, I still have to hear somebody that got backed by an OTA and they actually paid for the damage. I put a couple of claims, extreme dirt. I mean, somebody that stayed there for a week and left the rubbish of a week. Somebody broke the television, and I provided pictures. I spent time with chatting agents and never got anywhere with them. Never, ever. So, well, basic insurance, first of all, you need basic insurance for the house. And also there is a company, it's called Superhog. And I think that they're connected with Lodgify, and they provide guest insurance. They have a program that is called Know Your Guest. I'm sure Alberto that is there in the back so efficiently can put the link to it. Some people can read. Yeah, that's amazing. We don't use them because we have 60% repeat clients. So basically, we know the majority of our clients, so we don't need insurance for them. But people that are kind of wary about these things, they're the company to go to.
Amazing. Do you want to add something, Kerri, on insurance?
No, I don't have anything to add. I will say, I 100% agree. You don't rely on the OTA insurance policies. You need to have yourself covered as much as possible. I know it's a challenge for many people. You need to look at programs like Superhog. US is lucky because they have proper, but for many of us, and like including in Canada, they don't recognize short-term rental as a legitimate business. So while we get our basic liability and house protection coverages, for things like loss of income, theft during that, we don't have policies for that. So honestly, it's a source of stress for us. We've been fortunate to not have any incidents. But it is something that I do think we need more of in the industry. And hopefully as it morphs into a, somewhat we're seen as the Wild West, because of Airbnb and some of the stuff they've done, that we're able to get more and more things like insurance offered to us. So, more business type insurance and not, kind of crossing our fingers and buying them on a one-off booking basis.
I mean, I would also say that we do a refundable security deposit. It's nominal, but we do a refundable security deposit. And Daniela, with relationship to Superhog, I actually investigated it and think that for somebody who is running a bigger business than we are, that it is, it is a very good tool, because the vetting process, including checking that your picture matches that on your photo ID and all the rest of the stuff, I think could be something that would be a useful tool. And they also have the backup insurance should you have a problem. So I think Superhog was a very good recommendation for everybody today.
I've seen in the comments people sharing those situations of some OTAs not giving back the money when some issues happen. So
as I said before, up to this day, I still have to hear somebody that say, yes, I got the money back from the broken television. And I mean, some people with big villas, especially you guys with big chalet or that beautiful villas you have in Kefalonia, I mean, they can do serious damage there, and you don't really want to risk it.
Well, we had guests who took furniture from inside the house outside, and naked sunbathed with body oil all over the furniture, and we got harassed by the guests who had our phone number for weeks afterwards at the suggestion that we were going to take the security deposit off of them, which was at the time 250 euros. And it was astonishing, and it was really frightening, because these people were clearly crazy. There was enough outdoor furniture for them, but they did properly intend to damage the house. And when you have somebody with that kind of disrespect for your property, if you think that the OTAs are going to do anything to be helpful, then you're barking up the wrong tree, because they certainly aren't.
If they do, you're lucky. You're one of the lucky few.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to bet my my $20,000 loss on that.
No.
I saw one comment here in the chat that is perfect, as it touches upon one of the points that I wanted to talk about, which is build trust with your guests and having them return to your place. And so is David Alvarez asking Katie if you could talk a bit more about return customers with such a unique destination. Seems like a once in a lifetime place to go. We are similar in Ranguan in Belize, so yeah, maybe you can give some tips about how you can manage to have some more return customers.
It's developing a relationship with them from the minute that they first place their booking, emailing them to thank them. And then during the course of their stay, I've organized it on Lodgify that they get an email midweek or mid-stay to say, are you having a lovely time? Is there anything that's missing? And then at the end of their stay, sending them an email to say, thank you for your stay. And our guests that are coming on this Saturday are very special to us because it's a husband and wife. She's been very poorly and she had to cancel her last stay with us because of the fact that she wasn't very well. And she put us on her bucket list. And she said if she ever got well enough to be able to go on holiday again, that we were where she wanted to go. And the guests that follow on from that are guests who have been coming for 2 weeks in the end of June for the last 6 or 7 years. And the only year they didn't come was when somebody had the temerity to book one of the 2 weeks that they always want to book. And I just think it's having a special location. It's having special touches on the property that, you know, and always trying to improve it. Every year when we have our closed season, there's not a single lick of that house that is not immaculately looked over. And if a toaster's looking slightly yucky, we get a new toaster. This year we've got new light fittings in the house, and the whole house has been newly repainted and inside and out. But you know, I would say that it is actually taking the time to make sure that your place is somewhere somebody wants to come back to. It really warms our hearts when somebody wants to come back because it's very special.
Wonderful. What about you, Kerri or Daniela? Do you want to add something on return guests or building relationship with the guests?
Well, my whole strategy is about relationship because I am a people person. So I have personal relationship with like half of my guests. They are return guests, people that have been coming for 20 years. They were coming as singles, then they got married, then they had children. Now some children come with their girlfriends. We also host 3 and 4 generation families. Each of them take an apartment and then they gather around the pool. And just after the first lockdown, we had a 90th birthday party. It was about 25 Irish people came, 4 generation. It was amazing. And seeing them coming, especially all those people that come 2 or 3 times a year, you really see that they're part of our life. They become friends and they ask us about our children. We ask them about their children. It is a personal relationship, and it's easy because they know exactly what to expect. We know exactly what they want. So basically we just give them what they want on repeat and we make them happy. It's easier for both parts. They like to come here because they feel safe. They love the place, and they know that if they ever need anything, we're here. So relationships, 100% to build the direct booking strategy. Totally.
100% agree with what they said. First, communication, right? Before they step foot on your property, the first time it starts with communication. Make sure, you know, you're on your toes with answering their questions in a kind, friendly way. My husband makes fun of me because he says he goes through the Kerri School of Communication because I'm like, what? You can't answer like that, you know? So, but everything is all about before they even arrive, they feel welcome and they feel at home. And then after that, you know, that you deliver the experience you say that you're going to deliver. Do what you say you're going to do when they get there, and make sure the experience is what you've led them to believe it's going to be. and build that relationship. I'm like these other two ladies. I love people. I love guests. I think those, those of us that do probably make the best hosts, maybe not the best business owners, because I love my guests so much, but that relationship is what keeps them coming back over and over and over, and referral. I mean, someone says, I'm going to the townships. Oh my God, you have to stay with Kerri and Philip. So relationships and communication over and over and over.
Amazing. I wanted to showcase a nice comment I see here by Damien. The three ladies have been magnifico. Thanks, Damien from Dublin. So thanks a lot for your nice comment.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you very much.
And one last point that that I think Kerri talked a little bit about it before. So before we get to the Q&A, but how do you collect and use the data from your website visitors? I think, Kerri, you mentioned Enso before. Are there other ways that you use?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to caveat this up front with saying we collect it, we have it. Our goals for 2023 are to do better with doing things with it, like with dropping them in marketing funnels and campaigns, especially those that we have lost off of our website, because we do have all that data. So yeah, we use Enso, we use Google Analytics, and we use MailChimp. And then on Facebook, we have our pixel. We have our Meta Pixel that also tracks all the activity from everyone that's come in. So we have a conglomeration of all that different data. My husband, I'm very fortunate, is very, very techie and good with crap. So he will eventually take all of from those 4 different things and merge it into one tracking and data spreadsheet for us so that I can do better with it. We haven't started using that in Enso. In fact, we're launching Enso this week. I am super, super excited though about their CRM, and it's going to give us more flexibility and then our ability to move that over into MailChimp. But yeah, that is on my list to do better with this year. The data exists. Gathering it is super important. Finding the time to do something with it. It's on my list of to-dos. We're still very, very small. It's primarily me and my husband and a couple other people that work with us. So hours in the day, but we just keep plugging away, getting a little bit better every single day.
On our to-do list for 2023 is also merging it all into a nice CRM, because at the moment we're using MailChimp and people just sign up for the newsletter. So basically we send out a newsletter every 2-3 weeks that is full of information about what's happening in Marbella, change of the season, and again, what to do and where to eat. And then just a very, very small call to action at the end. Then we have these weekly broadcast messages on WhatsApp. And because each list can only have 256 people, we have about 5 different lists. So I take one video and send it out 5 times. That is pretty quick to do. Facebook Pixel, the same. And I've been playing also with Enso Connect. And what else? But basically, yes, spreadsheets. So yeah, maybe Lodgify can integrate a nice CRM for us.
It's on my list,
To save us all this.
I'm noting this down, Daniela. Okay.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Very busy ladies, too many things to do. We cannot do spreadsheets. We need machines to do it for us.
What about you, Katie? How do you collect the data? How do you use it?
We collect it on a minor scale because the traffic that is required for us to actually book up on an annual basis, it's more interesting to me when I've done a push on Facebook to see what the traffic drivers are through Google Analytics. And we also use the little Talk To chat app, and that tells us how many people have been to the website independently. It's a little bit less complicated for us because of the scale of our business, that we actually don't need to dive that deeply into it. But what is interesting is when you do look at Google Analytics to see how people are getting to you. and then making that to your best advantage, however big or small your organization is. I think that when you communicate with your customers, with your previous customers, the idea that you're using it in a way that actually speaks to them the most. I find that these kinds of things always additionally drive additional traffic to the website, which I think is where it is you want everybody to land in the end, because if you get them there, then half the battle's gone. So we're not quite as tactical as Kerri and Daniela are, but if we had to be, we would definitely be doing that.
Amazing. So I think now it's time for the Q&A. So I'm going to open here the questions list. So one of the first questions that someone asked before we started going live when we published the event. So does it matter where you are located? I guess that the person is asking, like, are direct bookings going to be affected by the location, or can you apply the same strategy, similar strategies to wherever you are?
I mean, obviously, it's much easier if you are in a repeat destination. But even if you are in a city that people do not go and repeat and only go once in the lifetime, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but still worth the while. Because if you become the property of reference for holiday rentals in your destination, then all the direct bookings are going to come to you.
I was just going to say, I completely agree with you, Daniela, because when you look at the whole idea that one might become reliant on the OTAs, that actually does have a way of dropping you off a cliff in the event that for whatever reason you either lose your positioning on their websites, or they knock you out for whatever reason.
Exactly.
So it's crucial to try to, regardless of where you're located, to try to build a direct business.
100% agree with everything they've said.
Amazing. I have my producer chatting into my ear saying that we're running out of time, but no worries about the Q&A, guys, okay? Because we're going to do a nice recap about all of these, and we're going to do a blog post that we're going to share on our Lodgify blog. And I've been taking notes about all of the inputs that the ladies have been saying. So that we'll include that into the blog post to make sure that we answer all of your questions. And I'll be updating the slides, the presentation, so we'll be able to send it in the emails as well, so that you can have a nice recap of the whole thing. And it's been really amazing having you three here. I think we've covered a lot of topics, and it's been super useful for a lot of our followers. And I can wait to do it again, another session, maybe another topic. We can talk about it and discuss it later. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for to all of you who stayed until the end. It's been a long event. So thank you so much for all of you in the audience who stayed until the end. And I wish you a lovely day, lovely evening, depending on where you are. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.